Swamp Thing, Episode 1, titled Pilot. This show got announced when Warner announced that, hey, they'll make a DC streaming service, and there's going to be shows that are exclusively to their service. And they announced Titans and Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn and Season 3 of Young Justice and Stargirl. The one show I got really intrigued and very curious how they were going to pull off was Swamp Thing. Just because if you start looking at the character just in general, Google the character, what he looks like in the comics and what it attains, your head is like, how the fuck do you do that on a TV budget? I mean, how do you? And also, it's like James Wan was attached to it, who's very heavy in horror, and the show was going to be a horror-centric show. And how James Wan was, at the time, Aquaman didn't came out, so the mindset was like, hey, you know, if he's doing a great job of Aquaman, clearly they gave him another DC property in the horror genre. And so there was all these things that really intrigued me, and then I heard the whole abduction thing, and then I heard, like, after the first episode, it got cancelled, and it's only 10 episodes of the show out there, and all that kind of thing. And so I kind of, you know, didn't watch it until now, when I found it in the store. I bought the DVD, I slapped it in, I watched the first episode, and I will say this, it's good. It's a really good opener. And the thing is, it is basically just setting out the groundwork that there's a illness that is somehow connected to the swamp in this in this town. It's affected. We follow our main character who comes back to this town, but as a law enforcement for the CCC. And trying to do this investigation while seeing all this horror and these body horror type things. And I will say this, like, when the horror aspect comes along, like the first 5 minutes of the swamp, the roots, the plants, the slaughtering these boaters who are diluting the swamp water, I was like, I feel the tension. When you have a walking corpse with bunch of thread just walking around and blah blah blah. After autopsy, I'm like, the intense thing is heavy on body horror. It's not heavy on the jump scares, which I quite like. I always like things like creepy, give me a creepy atmosphere. Don't be fussed about, you know, trying to go ah at me all the time. And so far it hasn't done that, but. So the atmosphere comes around. But the one thing, and me who is aware of Swamp Thing before this show came out, I forgot about the Alan Holden part of Swamp Thing. Because Swamp Thing doesn't show up in this episode until last like 10 seconds really. And I realized, oh yeah, the Alan Holden thing of him was human, and then something happened, and then like the swamp kind of turned him into Swamp Thing, and it kind of makes this kind of, and Alec in this, he's, you know, he seems like, you know, he's one of those, like, he's a likable character who just made some bad choices for the good reasons, and he's trying to rectify that and trying to prove things that he was right all the time, and, you know, things like that. And you're like, okay, he's all fine, all that. But the main character, and, you know, as it is first episode, you're trying to remember the character's name, but the main character, she's very interesting. She's engaging enough because she's like, you know, this town, there's like a baggage on her. What is that baggage? We have a little sense of it in like a ocean, a boat type of bar, pub type of situation, and, you know, you're trying to find those pieces, and it's really well done, that conversation. So you kind of, like, so far this show has got me intrigued and really, basically just like, hey, I'm bored, and now the main, you know, the title character has risen from the water. I'm really interesting to see how they resolve it, even if it ends on a cliffhanger due to the fact it was originally 13, and then by episode 10 they got told to stop production immediately because it was getting too expensive. So clearly the DC Universe streaming service did not make them much money as they thought, because reasons. Maybe because